you done?
So I'm a big fan of the Resident Evil games and Silent Hill and all of that kind of game. Silent Hill I can actually play through on my own typically. Resident Evil I'm bad at. Like, objectively bad at. So I wind up watching a lot of playthroughs. Let's plays on YouTube. And this newest one, Resident Evil Village, is no exception. It's the 8th one, and I fell in love with the designs of the characters, and then I saw online a lot of people disagreed with the designs, which I understand, but I disagree with their disagreement. I should explain that better.
You had different disagreements, where they were disagreeing, you're like, no, that's fine, but this needs to change.
Right. So, Lady Dimitrescu, I think is how you say her name.
Dimitrescu?
I know you don't pronounce the U. Dimitrescu. So, she has 3 daughters who can all turn into bugs and are also vampires like she is. And a lot of people redesigning Lady Dimitrescu as being...
Big Lady D.
Yeah, as being more Lady Double D. Being
Vampire Lady D.
More like her daughters. So they were giving her, like, not just all black attire, and even the hat became like a normal witch hat for whatever reason. I've seen that multiple times. But they also made her body slimmer and made her look significantly younger when the character's supposed to be like in her 40s. So I thought that was kind of rude as someone who is built similarly to the original design.
Oh, you are not that tall.
I just mean proportionally. You knew what I meant.
I did.
So instead I did the opposite, and I made her daughters look a little bit more like how their mother is dressed.
From what I've seen of things, like I've seen different portions of the playthroughs where people are fighting different daughters, and I honestly can't tell them apart.
Yeah, and I wanted them to each be different. They each have names. So I picked different, still in the 1930s, because I think that's kind of where her dress is from. And I designed some dresses and picked some dresses and mixed and matched some ideas and elements. I also gave them these monster hands, because she can do the long fingers and just change them that way at will. And the daughters don't have that in the game. Instead, they all carry these little scythes. And my issue with that is, what are they farming? They live in a fucking castle.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those classic horror weapons, but like people in castles didn't often have farming implements just laying around.
The context matters to me. So instead, I made them have permanent scary hands, because that made more sense to me. And they're still going to turn into bugs, but I also made their eyes be bug-like. And I tried to do different things with the 3 different daughters. Different dresses, different eyes, but they all have the same hands.
Dynamic poses.
Thank you.
And noticing your poses are very unique, and they flow.
Thank you.
Like they're dancer poses.
I want them to all look happy. I don't know why that was important to me.
It's important that they be happy.
I also gave them different hairstyles. Because I know, like, one's blonde and whatever, but that was it. Otherwise, they kind of look samey.
I remember you picking references, though, because it was all very much, like, from the 1930s period.
Yeah.
So.
Also, the hoods I kept. They all had I was going to say hoodie. That's wrong. Robe. They all had the robes. And I just gave our Lady D a hood as well. But otherwise, her dress is pretty much the same, as you'll see.
Well, it's a very nice dress, so you don't
Yeah.
change that too much. Going back to what you said at the beginning, I also had a thing where I very much liked horror games, but I was very much bad at them. And I knew, because I grew up on, like, Doom and Wolfenstein, however you know. But when I first played the first Resident Evil, I did not understand that you were not supposed to kill every zombie on every screen.
They just keep coming.
I was just like, how am I losing? I'm killing the zombies. That's what you're supposed to do.
Mm. And there are some bosses that are just run away from the boss until maybe later. It's the same in Silent Hill, too. You can't always kill things. Sometimes you just have to run away.
I'm used to being able to shoot the thing until it stops.
Yeah. No, I'm better at platform games. I'm better at racing games. But I like these games. I like looking at them.
I like that they exist.
Yeah.
It's good that we have some good zombie survival games that are still existing and doing well.
Yeah.
And moving horror forward.
Now with vampires. I like vampires. I will say Resident Evil trying to attach everything back to the Umbrella Company, sometimes it seems a little bit like a stretch. It's like, no, you just wanted this very particular monster in this game, and that's great. Why would this be here, though? Why would this be related to this other company? So, kudos to writers and everyone involved. Yes.
Whoever's in charge of Umbrella Corporation's R&D department essentially has a large gold toilet that they just hawk millions of dollars down. Oh, you wanna experiment with becoming a worm? Here you go.
Yeah.
$5 million and an island in remote somewhere.
Exactly. So, you can see what my...
Don't forget to scatter around some rocket ammo so that when the protagonist crash lands, he's got something to do for 18 hours.
You can see that my thoughts about her dress, I wanted most of it to stay the same, but have that hood in a way that makes sense to be attached to the dress, and instead of having long sleeves with little black gloves on the end, I did change the sleeves to be these gloves that go all the way up the arm. It's classy.
Elegant.
And it makes it so she also still has the dark gloves, but otherwise with the hood it was like she was in a bodysuit and that wasn't going to work. Separated, showed skin a little in other places.
I do like the idea when you first break into her house that she's in gloves, because she's just like, she's not used to popping her claws. It's not like a day-to-day thing. But later on, as the claws come out, it ruins the gloves, and she gets angry about that.
That would be cool. There are a lot of things in this game that I wonder if they ever explain. Like, Ethan gets his hand cut off, and then he just kind of glues it back on, including the sleeve. Like, his jacket sleeve also gets healed.
Yeah, so, well, on the one hand, he loses two fingers right off the bat.
Right. And those don't come back, I don't think.
No, those seem to be gone throughout.
Yeah.
But the other hand, I did see, like, he got it removed, and he's just like, oh, pop it back. It's just like, you didn't do that with the fingers.
Yeah. Well, in the other game entirely, he got an arm or a hand hacked off and then stapled back on. Somebody else stapled it back on for him. That was in a previous game.
He's having a rough time.
All of the time. He gets an arrow to his leg. He just kind of... I like that for the most part, his responses to pain now are just, really? Again? This is happening? He just doesn't care anymore. And I understand that.
He just rolls into the wheat thresher going, geez, not again.
Mm-hmm.
Time to pour the goo on.
Oh, and I gave Lady D cat eyes.
Make her look a little more predatory.
Yeah.
Alien.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to give her the scary hands like I did her daughters. So I wanted something else to make her stand out a little bit.
She's got that, like, vampire smirk, too.
Yeah, I gave her a little bit of fang.
Also, I realize the castle is already there for a while, but how inconvenient for her to have to crouch through every door. In her own home.
I mean, it worked out for this drawing because it meant that I could fit her in the frame, as well as having her daughters reasonably sized.
It gives you an idea of her size and proportions.
Yeah.
But, like, if I lived someplace and I had to, like, limbo through just going from door to just going room to room, it's like, oh, I'm going to the kitchen, limbo lower now. No, I'd be like, we need to get a contractor in here. We're gonna raise these things.
Here's where I add more bugs. More bugs.
My bugs.
More bugs. And I made her eyes a little bit smaller. Because they're still buggy, but they were cartoony in a way that I didn't want.
They were too big.
Yeah.
I like the one that has the spider eyes.
Yeah. I decided she's like... I don't know. I don't know what I was going to say at all. I don't know what I decided. I made choices.
Oh, you've come to my castle?
Yeah. Because I know one of them starts freaking out about the fact that you don't love her. How could that possibly happen? Of course you have to love her. I don't know which one that is, though. Because they're all the same.
Does she ask your name first? Or is she just like, oh, boy?
Oh, boy. Well, you'd already been hung up on the wall by your hands at that point, and torn yourself down. So...
Spoilers, by the way, for...
Yeah, but, like, it's just a lot of gore that is neat, but why? I don't know what it does story-wise, but...
Horror game needs to be... It's the same thing, like, if you overdo it. Like, he gets his hand chopped off, like, 8 times, and by, like, number 6, you're like, okay, fine, just glue it back on.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny.
Which is, I think, part of the reason, like Ethan still tracks as a protagonist, whereas, like, the previous protagonists are just going to be like, here we go again.
Yeah. Like, Leon, all of the time, is just,
Don't-
why?
Don't you mean Leon?
God.
You had a flashback.
Ugh.
I saw you have a flashback.
Specifically a flashback to the president's daughter stuck behind a dumpster because I couldn't figure out how to get her to just go around to follow me. Anyway, coloring.
Getting the coloration down.
I wanted them to be colorful but a little muted, which did mean kind of pastels, which admittedly is strange for a vampire, but I went with it.
You showed me the end piece. I hope it's not a spoiler, but it works in black and white or color, and I think that was very neat.
Actually, I did want to show what the black and white looks like as well.
So stay tuned for the black and white.
Yeah. And I did a little gradient to make it creepier. So I decided that's the way to make things creepy, is if there's
If it fades out of view, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole Silent Hill thing with the fog. It's just like, A, our engine won't render outside of 3 feet, and B...
Really, that was kind of brilliant.
Yeah. You work with your limitations.
Yeah.
This is a complete 3D environment, but it'll only render within 3 feet without getting choppy. Now, do a horror game.
Hoods are hard for me to draw.
What are
I don't understand them. Hoods. I don't
You
understand
do really
hoods.
good with the fabrics, though.
Thank you.
I like her little wing.
Thank you. I also don't understand how to consistently draw lines, which made this a real interesting set of choices.
Well, you're still getting used to the new tablet.
Oh, that doesn't matter. This is a me problem. This
I gave you an out.
You did, but it's wrong. It's a lie. This is a me issue. It's like, anytime someone sees a drawing of mine and goes, oh, I can't even draw a straight line. I say, oh, neither can I. That's what rulers are for. But you don't want to use totally straight lines when drawing something like this.
You've never drawn straight in your life.
Yeah, like I used a straight line for the door frame, but for the dresses, that wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
You know, it needed to flow a little bit more organically, naturally.
Yeah.
I also tried to give the daughters all slightly different body types. I don't know if I succeeded there, but I tried.
I can see it. Because the way they wear their dresses are kind of like complementary to their body type. So
That was my hope.
That's the thing, is you give them different body types, and then you give them dresses to kind of minimize the effects of that, because they each had, like, accentuate what is, like, one feature.
Yeah. And it was interesting to look at 1930s dresses, you know, the fashions of the 1930s, and then figure out with the hood and with other changes I wanted to make, how do I make this work? So I'm doing, like, little bits of fashion design as it would be decades ago, which is not my forte. You know, grand scheme of these redesigns, I really hadn't seen anyone tackle the daughters. And the daughters do fit within the game, because other enemies do have those little sides and such, but those other enemies don't live in a castle. They don't have Lady D as a mommy. So I just...
Who gave you that filthy tool? Go get a sword like a proper woman.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
This is not a well taken care of castle, apparently.
Well, everyone who comes in gets murdered, so, you know...
Yeah.
They've got that toilet on the 8th floor that's never worked, because every time there's a plumber, he just dies.
Gotta be figuring out...
That almost looked like a smoke animation, because it's smoke, not smoke, smoke, not
Oh, here's the black and white. Just to figure out values. But I kept it because it was neat.
That's neat.
And then I did a super dark version, because that's how it looks in the game, where you can't see anything.
But...
Here's the final version.
Very nice.
Thank you.
It's gorgeous.
Thank
They're all gorgeous. I would gladly die at the hands of these women.
I think I kept the idea with the bugs and make them look like they do have some kind of relationship with her.
We're going to have to make prints of this for when we go back to the horror conventions this fall.
I would like to. I hope they're recognizable as who they are, despite the drastic redesign of the daughters.
Yeah.
I think so long as she looks recognizable, that's fine. Alright, so that's my redesign of Dimitrescu.
The family D.
Family D from Resident Evil Village.
Rock on.
Rock on.